morning, Bucknutters. It's Tuesday, August 30th, 2016. I'm Dan Rubin. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5 and Change, joined, as always, on Tuesdays by Duane Long. But today's a little bit different. It is Duane's ex-annual 39th birthday. Duane, happy birthday, brother.
I'm doing great. It's a beautiful morning, and I'm going to have a great day. My wife's got lots of plans for me.
Translated. This is the last you'll hear from Duane today. He is going to check out into birthday land, and we appreciate him carving out some time this morning. We considered trying to do it last night, couldn't pull it off, but knew he had to be on the show because so much is going on. Unfortunately, Duane, we start with a guy who we covered in the boarding house ad nauseum. He is among the more lightning rodish players that have come through the program here in a few years. Torrance Gibson, the wonder-kind out of Florida, has been suspended for the season for some off-court malfeasance. I'm so used to covering hoops at times, so off-the-field malfeasance. What's your general vibe on Gibson? We're not going to get too much into details of what he did here. That's more of a premium type behind-the-scenes thing. If you want to talk about that or get into that in detail, head to the front row. What we're going to deal with here is more the football side of things. First, your opinion on what this does to Gibson's career, where you see him, if you see him coming back to Ohio State, sticking it out, and then maybe what effect it has on the team to lose him at this point.
I don't know if transferring is even a possibility, Dan. He is suspended from school, and I don't know if other schools are going to be open to taking a player that is just a student who is suspended from one school like that. I think he might find that his options are limited. So let's start there. I don't know if that's going to help him to try to transfer. Even if a school would take him, I suspect that the suspension would uphold the suspension. So I don't know if that's going to help him. As far as what's going on the field is concerned, you've got to wonder about this guy's future, considering how far behind he is. Other kids on this roster were learning how to play wide receiver in high school, the basics. Well, he doesn't learn the basics till he gets to Ohio State, but what happens? He gets a high ankle sprain, and he spends most of the last year in rehab rather than learning how to play wide receiver. Well, he comes into spring, and we see that that's the way it is. He has flashes of brilliance mixed with being lost. Well, then he comes into fall camp. He misses 10 practices in the fall, so he's falling further behind. Well, then you add in, now he's going to miss an entire year because he can't be around the football team at all. He's going to miss an entire year. And, we don't have just, when he came in, he was probably the only real Ferrari in the garage. Well, now we got more than we need. And they're going to be playing football this fall. They're going to be practicing football this fall. So they pull even further ahead of him as far as development's concerned. I don't know, Dan. He's such a spectacular athlete that you can't say, well, he's just not going to, it's not going to happen for him. At least not here. It's not going to happen for him. So, you can't completely write him off, but he's so far behind. And then we've got, another Ferrari coming in for next year in Trevon Grimes. I don't know if he's ever going to overcome this. He's such an athlete, you can't write him off, but you can't say that his future's bright here either. Now, as far as it impacts the team, I don't know. His name was not coming up as a guy that was going to play regularly this fall. I assumed he was going to get in the game. He can do some special things, but he was not in the too deep. So it just shows what kind of talent we've got here. I don't know how much of an impact it's going to have. You want as many of these kind of guys as you can get, obviously, but I don't know if he was going to get that much playing time. He's just not ready to play, as it is. And now he's going to fall further behind.
Duane, I think that was a very comprehensive answer. I appreciate it. And I agree. Excuse me. The line's getting long in there. You know, we talked about guys who he's going to be behind. Austin Mack, Ben Victor, Trevon Grimes, and that's just the young guys, not to mention, you know, with Noah Brown, we're already assuming Noah Brown's going to leave. He hasn't even caught a college pass. So it's tough for Gibson. I think you did bring up a great point in this. There's 100% chance that someone will take, I mean, that he has a future in football right now. He's got support of his coach publicly, which will help him, and he's a freakish athlete. There are plenty of other programs that could use him. The only thing I heard someone on the board said, here's the next start of Last Chance U. I hope that's not the case, but we will keep an eye on it. Very disappointing just because I kind of had a feeling that Gibson was I'm not sure how much of a practice guy he'll ever be, but I do think he's a guy that, as he showed in some, you know, in spring game, he can make plays, and you could put him in there in the short yardage or the end zone situations for the fade, et cetera, but it's just a shame, and we will keep locked into that. Speaking of guys with a future, this past weekend was an incredible array of games, high school-wise. One of the great things about Ohio State's level of recruiting now is that when there's a game televised nationally, the over-under on Buckeyes in the game is about 2.5. So what did you see out of the weekend? Who jumped out at you? I mean, obviously you had programs on display like Bishop Corman and IMG and et cetera, all across the country. What did you see? Who are the players that really jumped out to you? Future Buckeyes included, and then maybe some other guys who caught your eye.
Well, the one that really caught my eye the most was Wyatt Davis. What a mauling, brawling, just, you know, he's an offensive lineman that really likes to play football. And when I say that, I mean, he likes hitting people. I saw a referee, and I've seen this on his films too. Referee come and get him to stop putting pain on the guy he was blocking. He just loves it. He's hitting people. He blows them off the line of scrimmage. He's a massive kid, but I'm telling you, don't pencil him in at guard. I know they're going to give him a shot at right tackle. He is just a machine. I love the guy. He's a monster. He beats people up and loves every minute of it. Glad to have him. He really put on the show. I thought that, I look at what Sean Wade did this weekend. It was kind of back and forth. If he looked better on offense than he did on defense. Caught a big pass, so a guy draped all over him, and caught the touchdown pass to tie the game and send it in overtime. On defense, I saw more bad than good. There were a couple of tackles that his effort was severely lacking. He's a spectacular athlete, but like I said, I don't want my future star cornerback looking better on offense than on defense. So we'll see what happens the rest of the year. He was just a little tentative on his tackling. I don't know. Someone said on the boards that so it's like he's already at Ohio State. That's where his head's at. He's not thinking about playing football down there. So there. We go and we look at Tate Martell running the ball. Obviously, he was just another level. They could not contain him. Throwing the ball, it was kind of a so-so day. He missed some balls that I thought he should have completed. Threw for less than 50% of his passes. So, I still see tools. I am not going to, judge him just on one game. Overall, he led his team to a big win. And he took what defense gave him, which was a lot of room to run the ball. And you have to factor this in, Dan. Ty John Lindsay is his man. That's been his go-to guy. He's his friend. That's who he's used to throwing the ball to. You take a 5-star receiver off the field, quarterback's probably going to have a bad day. So let's factor that in, and let's look at Tate Martell after he gets his number one receiver back. That's where we can make a true evaluation of the kid and how he's coming along. Who else jumped out at me this weekend? Oh,
how about
the one
Haskell Garrett and his cousin?
Oh, Garrett is just he's a big rock in there. You know, I think it was Bagel Bucks mentioned this when people were talking about him. You know, if all your defensive tackle is doing is stuffing the line of scrimmage, not allowing penetration, you've got to be pretty happy with that. That's what you want him to do. If he's making plays in the backfield and rushing the quarterback, great. But if your defensive tackle is making sure that there's nowhere for a back to go, you got to be pretty happy with that. He's not a real big guy, but he's big enough, and he's stout in there. He's one of those guys. I loved what I saw out of him this weekend.
How about his cousin? And we're going to call him. He's the linebacker, everybody. Now we were talking about this before the show. I've been doing this job for 20 some odd years. I've seen every last name in the book, and I cannot pronounce dude's name. His name is Pele Gattiotti. So we're just going to call him Pele. Go ahead.
Best player I saw all weekend. He was everywhere. Someone came on the message boards. They wanted to go back and look at the game, and they said, what number was he? I said number 10. Really just don't worry about looking for him. Just follow the ball. He'll eventually get there. He was all over the field. He's in the backfield. He's chasing the quarterback. He's running down backs. You know, he was incredible. Best linebacker play I've seen out of a high school player in years in that one game. He's a guy that we really have to turn up the heat on and try to get him to come east. I mean, off the charts in every sense of linebacker play. He finds the ball, what I call his read, react, run. And his read, react, run was 10-10-10 across the board. The guy reads the game, he makes a decision, and he moves faster than anybody else on the field. He is special. Best player I saw all weekend.
Not surprisingly, he's also the number one outside linebacker don't get bogged down in the position here in the 24/7 Sports composite. So I think you can expect him to be an extreme priority for the Buckeyes, and we also know it is Haskell Garrett's cousin. So you combine Haskell Garrett, you combine Ohio State, you combine Tate Martell and Lindsey coming. So I would hope that this is one they can lock up in the class of 2018. Duane, believe it or not, real football this weekend. We'll have a tremendous amount of coverage of the Ohio State Buckeyes opener versus Bowling Green this weekend leading up to it. But your 5 days out vibe on the opener, what you're looking for, what would satisfy you, et cetera.
Well, I'm open-minded about it. You know, we've got so many guys coming in that have not played much or played at all. So I'm really I want a solid performance. I want a team that's not taking dumb penalties, and I want a team that's sound. I just want to see these guys come in and get the job done this weekend. They're going to run into an attack that is probably going to be, a lot of the ball thrown out to the side and try to make something happen. So we're all excited about our defensive backfield. They're going to have to perform this weekend. Linebackers need to get down the line of scrimmage and get in there and make sure that they're shutting down the cutback. That just really, Dan, I want to see these guys come out on the field and not look nervous and play sound football.
And there's no question. One of the last things you will hear a coach say about a prospect at Ohio State is he's got to go do it in front of 108,000. There will be plenty of guys that get their chance to do it this weekend for the first time. We are really looking forward to it. And we are extremely appreciative that Duane carved out some of his big day here, his birthday, to spend with us. Duane, happy birthday.